Imagine waking up every single day knowing that your life is a joke. Not just a passing joke, but a running gag. One that's been stretched out for over 30 years. Dissected, ridiculed, and replayed by millions.
I am invincible! Invincible! Ow!
You're not the hero of your story. You're not the villain either. You're just there, a bumbling, donut-obsessed man who can never catch a break. The life of Homer Simpson has to be a soul-sucking existence. At first glance, it might not seem so bad. He has a family, he has a house, he even has a job. That should be enough, right? But look closer. That house is falling apart. That family tolerates him at best. And that job is a disaster. It's a ticking time bomb. Literally.
Crazy about nuclear power either!
You people aren't allowed in here.
Being Homer Simpson isn't just tough. It's a slow-motion disaster where every day is a new catastrophe waiting to happen. Let's start with the job. Homer is the safety inspector at the Springfield Nuclear Power Plant. That sounds like a big deal. It sounds like a position that requires intelligence, skill, and a deep understanding of nuclear safety. But here's the thing, Homer has none of that. In fact, the only reason he got the job is because he put yes on the application when asked if he had experience with nuclear power. He dozed off on the job so often, his face has left an imprint on the control panel. He's caused multiple near meltdowns. He once lost a radioactive rod in his shirt, and yet somehow he keeps the job. Not because he's good at it, but because his boss, Mr. Burns, is too cheap to fire him and hire someone competent. Every morning, he walks into the plant with the same dull sense of impending doom. The place is filled with glowing rods, malfunctioning monitors, and sirens that seem to go off at random. One wrong move and Springfield could become a nuclear wasteland, and Homer has made a lot of wrong moves. Just this week, he caused at least 47 safety violations. But does he stress about it? Not really. He just sighs, grabs another donut, and lets fate decide whether today is the day he finally pushes the wrong button. Then there's the commute home. Rush hour in Springfield is a nightmare. But Homer makes it worse. Every red light is a personal insult. Every driver in front of him is an enemy. He spends the entire ride yelling at the windshield, shaking his fist at Flanders, and muttering under his breath about how the world is against him.
You West protesters, you can't stop me from living my life!
And by the time he finally pulls into the driveway of 742 Evergreen Terrace, his nerves are fried. He's already done for the day. But home isn't exactly a peaceful retreat. Marge is a saint. There's no doubt about that. But imagine being married to someone who forgets anniversaries, blows their savings on useless junk, and once pawned the family TV just so he could go bowling. Imagine dealing with a husband who spends more time at Moe's Tavern than with his own kids. Someone who promises to change but never does. Marge has had more reasons to leave Homer than anyone can count. But she stays. Maybe out of love. Maybe out of habit. Maybe because she knows he's helpless without her.
You only
Then there's Bart. Bart isn't just a mischievous kid, he's a full-blown delinquent. And Homer? Homer is his favorite punching bag. Every single day Homer gets strangled, pranked, and disrespected by his own son. Why you little isn't just a catchphrase. It's a desperate attempt to regain control of a situation that was long since spiraled out of his hands. But the truth is, Bart doesn't fear him. No one does. Homer is just there, stumbling through fatherhood, failing more often than he succeeds. And Lisa's brilliant. She's the kind of child any parent would be proud of. But here's the thing, Lisa doesn't look up to Homer. She looks down on him. She sees through his nonsense. She knows he'll never change. She watches him with quiet disappointment. Her saxophone solos acting as a constant reminder that she exists on a different level than him. A level he'll never understand.
You were wrong, wrong, wrong!
And then there's Maggie. Sweet, quiet little Maggie. She doesn't say much, but she's already had her moment. She shot him once. Was it by accident? Maybe. But still, this isn't a happy sitcom family. It's a pressure cooker. And Homer is the weak link. Well, let's talk about Springfield. This town is a madhouse, and yet Homer still manages to be one of the biggest jokes in it. Moe, his so-called friend, serves him drinks after drinks, and mocks him the second he turns his back.
That guy sure likes his fresh air. None of that for me.
Lenny and Carl barely hide their pity. Even the donuts, the one true love of his life, have betrayed him, piling onto his gut and leading to some of the most humiliating moments. He's been stuck in a water slide, a chimney, and of course, a reactor core hatch. Physically, he's a disaster. Homer has been balding since his 20s. His diet consists of beer, pork chops, and whatever he finds stuck between the couch cushions. He wheezes when he walks up the stairs. He's been electrocuted more times than anyone can count. He's been attacked by animals, thrown off cliffs, and hit by moving vehicles. And yet, he keeps coming back. Not because he's tough, but because the universe refuses to let him go. And here's the real tragedy. He's trapped. Homer is 39 years old. He has been 39 for decades. Time doesn't move forward, but the failures keep stacking up. Every scheme, every attempt to improve his life crashes harder than the last. He's tried everything. Monorail conductor, grease salesman, sugar smuggler. Each time he thinks, this is it, this is the one. But it never is. It never will be. Because at the end of the day, he's Homer Simpson.
Happy! I'm the magical man from Happy Land.
And Homer Simpson doesn't win. His dreams are small, bowling a perfect game, eating the world's biggest sandwich. Maybe just one day when everything goes right. But those things are crumbs compared to the reality of his existence. The reality that no matter how hard he tries, he will always be the punchline. The man who trips over his own feet. The man who burns the house down trying to make toast. The man who's doomed to repeat the same mistakes over and over again. So why does it suck to be Homer Simpson? Because he's a man drowning in mediocrity, surrounded by chaos he can't control, and loved just enough to keep going, but never enough to climb out. And the worst part, it never ends. But the real horror of being Homer Simpson isn't just the failures, it's the fact that failure is his default setting. Every now and then he gets a taste of success, a glimpse of what life could be if he weren't, well, him. Maybe he stumbled into a promotion, maybe he wins the lottery. Maybe, just for a moment, things go his way, and for those few glorious seconds, he believes, really believes, that this time will be different. That this time, he's finally cracked the code.
Yes, yes, oh God, yes!
But it never lasts, because the universe has other plans. Take the time he got to be an astronaut. That should have been the highlight of his life. The ultimate underdog story. A working class nobody getting the chance to do something extraordinary. But what did he do with that opportunity? He nearly destroyed the entire mission by opening a bag of chips. Floating crumbs caused a panic, and in true Homer fashion, disaster was only narrowly avoided. The world saw a hero. NASA saw a mistake they would never repeat. And in the end, he went right back to the power plant, right back to his old life, like none of it had ever happened. Then there was the time he became a boxing champion. It seemed impossible. Homer, the undisputed heavyweight champion of Springfield. But here's the catch. He wasn't good at boxing. He just had an abnormally thick skull that let him absorb hit after hit until his opponent got tired. It worked for a while, but then he met someone who didn't get tired. Frederick Tatum, a real boxer. And when Homer stepped into that ring, it wasn't a fight, it was a slow-motion execution. The only reason he survived was because Mo literally carried him out of the ring.
Are you an angel?
Yes, Homer, I'm an angel. All us angels wear Farrah slacks.
And what about the time he met his long-lost mother? That should have been a turning point. That should have been a moment of healing. Instead, she left him, and Homer was forced to watch her drive away, knowing he'd never see her again. And when he sat on the hood of his car staring at the stars, it was one of the few times the world got to see the real Homer Simpson. The man beneath the jokes. The man who knew deep down that some things could never be fixed. And even when Homer gets what he wants, it comes at a cost. Like the time he finally got to eat the world's greatest sandwich. It was perfect. It was everything he ever wanted. But he refused to let it go. He kept it long past its expiration date. Kept eating it even as it started to rot. Until it nearly killed him. That's the essence of being Homer Simpson. Wanting something so badly that he holds on to it even as it destroys him. And it's not just his dreams that slip through his fingers. It's his relationships too. He loves Marge. He really does. But that doesn't stop him from taking her for granted. He's hurt her more times than he can count. Lied to her, ignored her, let her down in ways big and small. And every time, she forgives him. But forgiveness isn't the same as happiness. Deep down, there's a part of Homer that knows Marge deserves better. Knows she could have had a different life, a better life if she married someone else. But she didn't. She chose him. And that's both the best and worst thing that ever happened to him. And his kids, he loves them too. But that doesn't mean he understands them. Bart sees him as a joke, a walking punchline, someone to mess with, someone to rebel against. They have their moments, those rare fleeting moments where they actually connect. But most of the time, Bart is either pranking him, ignoring him, or running in the opposite direction. And Homer? He doesn't know how to fix that. He doesn't know where to start. Lisa is even worse. She doesn't just see him as a joke, she sees him as a failure. And the worst part? She's right. She's the smartest person in the family, the one who sees the world for what it is. And she knows better than anyone that Homer is never going to change. That he's always going to be the man who forgets important dates, who makes bad choices, who stumbles through life without a plan. And then there's Maggie. Sweet, innocent Maggie, the only one who doesn't judge him. The only one who doesn't expect anything from him. But she will, one day. She'll grow up, she'll see him for what he is, and when that day comes, what will he have to offer her? What kind of a role model will he be? But here's the cruelest part of all. Homer isn't even allowed to grow. Most people learn from their mistakes. They change, they evolve. But Homer, he's stuck, frozen in time. Simpson never grew up. Always be working the same dead-end job. Always be making the same mistakes over and over again. He's been given every opportunity to become a better person, and yet, no matter what he does, he always ends up right back where he started. And in the end, that's the real tragedy of Homer Simpson. Not that he's a bad person, not that he's a failure, but he'll never get the chance to be anything else. He's a cautionary tale, a living, breathing example of what happens when you settle, when you stop trying, when you accept mediocrity as your fate. And worst of all, he doesn't even realize it. So next time you laugh at Homer Simpson, next time you chuckle at his latest disaster, his latest humiliation, remember this. He's not just a joke. He's a prisoner, trapped in a life that will never change. Trapped in a story that will never end. And that's why it sucks to be Homer Simpson. Life as Homer Simpson might be tough, but there's another character out there whose life might be even more tragic. What other character's life do you want to hear about in the next video? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.